You gather a team, set a deadline, and start building. At first, everything feels aligned, but soon that momentum disintegrates into absolute chaos. The deadlines slip, the budget vanishes, scope creep sneaks in, and suddenly half the team is working on features nobody actually asked for because the communication channels completely broke down. This happens because we naturally confuse the physical act of doing the work with the strategic act of managing a project. They are entirely different skill sets. Without an underlying architectural framework to hold all those moving parts together, your project team isn't executing a vision. They are just a group of people guessing at what to do next. To solve this, the Project Management Institute created an engineered solution to human collaboration friction, the Project Management Body of Knowledge, or PMBOK guide. It takes the massive, overwhelming concept of project management and distills it down into 49 specific, highly actionable processes. To make those 49 processes digestible, they are categorized into 5 overarching process groups: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. Now, looking at this diagram, it is tempting to view these 5 groups as a simple chronological timeline. You start at 1, you end at 5. But they actually function as an interactive engine, with dynamic feedback loops running constantly between them. Surviving a project means you have to master exactly how these 5 mechanisms interact with each other, rather than just checking them off a list. The engine fires up with the initiating group. Before anyone writes a line of code or pours concrete, this phase establishes formal legal authorization and gets the entire organization aligned. It produces 2 essential things: a project charter that officially sanctions the work, and a comprehensive map identifying every single stakeholder whose needs must be met. Once you have permission to exist, you move into planning. This is where you take abstract requirements, like hitting a specific quality standard within a tight budget, and translate them into an actionable strategy. As you can see in this visualization, the planning phase organizes resources to define the exact scope, map out a structured timeline, and build defensive strategies for future risks. Initiating gives your project the right to exist. Planning provides the structural blueprint you need to survive contact with reality. But here is where the illusion of a chronological timeline shatters. The next 2 process groups do not happen one after the other. They run simultaneously. First is executing. This is where resources are deployed. Teams actively collaborate, and the physical work of the project is actually directed. In this system diagram, the second ring represents monitoring and controlling. This group runs continuously alongside executing, quietly tracking key performance indicators and measuring your actual progress against your planned baseline. Whenever monitoring detects a variance, say your material costs suddenly spike over budget, it immediately triggers a system alert. That alert forces the entire project to pause and loop that new data right back into the planning group, where the team recalculates the budget or adjusts the schedule. Those structural adjustments then feed directly back down into executing, altering how the team behaves moving forward. Execution functions as a continuous circuit, a cycle of directing effort, capturing live data, and feeding those insights back into the strategy. Eventually, the work concludes, bringing us to the final group, closing. Delivering the final physical product does not mean the project is actually over. You still have to handle the administrative necessities. This means formalizing handovers with stakeholders, officially closing out vendor contracts, and securely archiving your project documents. Most importantly, closing involves a thorough post-mortem to document lessons learned, ensuring the organization captures that critical knowledge for the next lifecycle. If you skip the closing phase, incomplete administrative threads mutate into infinite zombie tasks, permanently draining your team's bandwidth long after the work was supposed to end. All 5 groups integrate into a single, scalable system designed to handle high-stakes complexity. If we look at this standard document from the Project Management Institute, you can see how these 5 process groups form the historical backbone of the standard for project management. Even as the PMBOK guide evolves its methodologies, this core engine remains the baseline, and it is universally scalable. The exact same mechanical logic applies whether you are engineering a 90-story skyscraper or launching a regional marketing campaign. By establishing clear authority, planning for reality, looping your execution with constant monitoring, and properly closing out the work, This system actively shields your budget and your people from that initial vacuum of chaos. Mastering these interactions allows a team to navigate through uncertainty with precision, ensuring that even under pressure, the work remains aligned with the project's original objectives.